Morning! A Monday morning video feels quite unusual, but as I said in my last video, I'm actually off today. Something a bit different today and completely unintended. I wanted to have a look at the Budgie desktop. And I thought, not necessarily to make a video, although I may well have done a review and may well do a review at some point in the future. But I thought, what should I install Budgie on? I thought I don't really want to put it on one of my live systems, my production systems, which I'm quite happy with, and I don't want to mess with them too much. I'll just do a quick install of something, install Budgie and have a look. And Arch being the system that I'm using at the moment, I thought, well, they're bound to have a great implementation of Budgie. Let's install Arch. And you know what? I've never used one of the famous install scripts that you can use to quickly install Arch. Yes, I've used Endeavour, which is a very easy way to install Arch. And yes, I've installed Manjaro in the past, which is a very customized version of Arch. Could you still call it Arch? More of a fork, really. But I thought, why not use a script and see if that works? Because I just wanted something quick and easy to get an Arch system up and running. And I caught a video a few days ago about the Anarchy installer, which potentially is a simple way of installing plain Arch. So I thought, well, give it a go. So let's just move to their web page. It's a fairly plain web page, to say the least, and all it says is Anarchy Linux is an Arch Linux installer providing a hassle-free, pure installation and polished user experience. Every aspect of the install is taken into account, from partitioning and configuration to installing your favourite DE or window manager. Okay, and it's intended to provide both novice and experienced Linux users a simple and pain-free way to install. Great. If I go onto their menu and I look at the features, I saw that also it allows you to install different kernels, use multiple partitioning methods, and it actually has customized versions of Cinnamon, GNOME, I'm sorry, it's not GNOME, it's GNOME, OpenBox, XFCE and Budgie, and of course all the rest of the standard DEs and window managers that are available in Arch are also there. So, all good. A customized version of Budgie seems to fit the bill as far as having a look, so I thought I'd download it. It was about 650-ish megs, so it wasn't that big. And let me move back to my webcam. Off I went. It didn't work. The install script works fine, but Budgie didn't work. I could not get Budgie to start. Which turns out, as I'll mention as we go along here, that it was nothing to do with the Anarchy installer. There seems to be something about Budgie and Arch at the moment that's just not working properly. However, I was quite impressed with the installer, so I thought I'd do a quick review. See what you think. Okay, so I know you just see a blank screen in front of you at the moment, largely due to VirtualBox's very dodgy UEFI implementation. But I've set up a virtual machine, I've attached the Anarchy ISO to VirtualBox, I've given it 8 gig of RAM, 2 threads of my i5 processor, and a 32 gig hard drive. and we're just waiting for everything to boot. Normally this takes a little while when using VirtualBox's UEFI implementation, but it should start to boot in a second, all things being well. If not, we will come back. But here we go. So it's going through the boot process now. It will no doubt start to check the internet connection to make sure everything's okay, and then give me the Anarchy menu, which you can see in front of you. Now, let me just get rid of these little overlays. You can choose a number of different things here. I am going to just use the standard Anarchy command to begin the automated installer. But one of the things that I have seen here is Anarchy update, which I presume is simply to update any changes on the Anarchy ISO. So I'm going to run that to start off with to see what happens. And to see if there's anything that needs doing. So it's telling me it's downloading, and it's been updated successfully. You may now run Anarchy. Okay, great. Well, let's do that. Let's type Anarchy. And we get the installer, which gives us the option to select our language, and it's already defaulted to English. And it asks me to set my key map, which is UK. Welcome to the Anarchy Linux installer. Would you like to begin the install process? Yes, please. Download and rank new mirrors. Okay, that's useful. It asks me to pick my country. And off it goes and ranks the various UK mirrors and puts them in order of which is the fastest. My desired locale, okay, Great Britain. And my time zone, which will be Europe and London. All these installers ask the same sort of questions, and after a while you get very used to them. Okay, so we've got to the partitioner. I'm just going to go here for the auto partitioner to see how it does. So I'm going to click OK. It asks me to select a device. Well, there is only one SDA. And it tells me the desired file system type. The default is ext4, but I can choose any that I want, essentially. I'm just going to go with ext4. Do I want to swap partition? No, I don't. Do I want to enable UEFI BIOS? Yes, I do, but it gives me a word of warning there that it may not work on some systems, so to enable with caution. Okay. So there's a quick summary of what I'm setting up. Let's write changes. And I can see it's doing the partitioning and the formatting. Okay, all good. And mounting the partition. Right, select my desired install option. So the first one is a quick desktop install. Let's go for that. And then I get the option to choose my desktop environment. Now, if you do this, don't choose Budgie. There are other options there, and this time I'm going to go with XFCE4. Asks me to set my host name. Anarchy's fine. Set a root password. Okay. And repeat. Okay. It now asks me to add a new user. Okay, well, I'll add a user called OTB. And my full name is OTB. And set a password. And repeat. Enable sudo privileges for OTB. That's nice. Yes, please. Okay, so the accounts on this system now are OTB and root. and I noticed they both have the ZSH shell. I would normally go with bash, but you know, I'm just going to leave this as is and click done. Would I like to install some common software? Well, why not? Let's select yes and see what it brings up. Okay, so I get a few options there. Let's move down to fonts. If I hit the space bar, okay, it selects it. And it's running a command there. And do I want to add those two packages? Yes, I do. I don't want any games. What about graphics? Let's install a GIMP and add that package. What about internet? Okay, well, I'm going to need a browser. So let's install Chromium and Firefox. And click OK. Add those two packages. Do I need any multimedia? Tell you what, let's install VLC and multimedia codecs. Okay, add those in. What about Office? Let's install LibreOffice fresh. Anything else? A terminal? Well, XFCE4 terminal. I would have thought that would have been part of XFCE4, but okay. Let's add that package. Text editors. No Nano there, but let's put Vim in and Mousepad. Why not? Add those. I don't want any servers at the moment. Let's have a look at utilities. Git's always useful to have installed. HTOP. wget. Let's stick with that. And click add. Excuse me. I think that will probably do us for the time being, so I'm just going to hit done. And it's telling me that it's going to download over 1200 megabytes. The estimated install time is around 15 minutes. What time am I on at the moment? 9:30. So let's just hit install and see what happens. Whilst it's going through the downloading and installing, I will pause this and we'll come back once it's finished. Okay, so it's finished at 9:43. Oops, excuse my phone. It did say that it would take around 15 minutes, and it's actually taken, 13 minutes. That's absolutely fine. And I've now got some options here. What do I want to do? Do I want to reboot, power off, shroot into the install system, go back to a command prompt, view the installation log, add another user, install more software? Okay, well look, that was pretty painless. I'm not going to reboot this system because I know from playing with this previously, it doesn't remove the ISO. So I'm going to power it off. I'm going to remove the ISO file, and then we'll come back when we've booted into the new system. So I shut down VirtualBox. I removed the Anarchy ISO. I rebooted, and it rebooted straight back into this LightDM login screen. No problem with VirtualBox's dodgy EFI implementation. I do like the background, I must admit. So key thing here though is, can we actually log in? And yes, it would appear that we can, to a slightly customized XFCE in terms of the icons that are on the menu bar and the CPU graph. Okay, well, that's all good. I'm not going to play around with XFCE now because that's not really the point. What I just wanted to do was to see if the Anarchy Linux installation script worked well. Just before we log out of this and have a chat, I just want to very quickly have a quick look at the Pacman Conf. If I could type, it would help. And here we have it. And I just want to see if it's standard. Okay, it includes Core Extra and Community. It would appear to have multi-lib already included, but there is no custom repository. So in a nutshell, this would appear to be straightforward plain Arch. Now, just before we go and have a chat about the Anarchy Linux script, what I would say to you is I did install Budgie Desktop on this, and this is what I got. I'm going to log out of this. I'm going to select the Budgie Desktop from the screen and try and log in. Oops, something has gone wrong. Okay. Now, I would have blamed the Anarchy installer for this initially. So I went to my laptop, my little ThinkPad, and I installed Budgie Desktop on that. And what you know, I got exactly the same error. There's obviously something with Budgie and Arch at the moment that's causing a few issues. I have had a brief look through the logs and I couldn't find it, but nevertheless, let's move on. Let's go and have a chat about this installer, which, apart from the Budgie issue, which is not really its fault, seems to work very well. So what do we think? By the way, you'll see I've got my new mic, my XLR mic up. I'm still playing with the audio levels and getting it to work properly, so it might be a bit up and down today. I made a few beginner mistakes when I was setting it up, but I'm getting there. I think I'll probably produce a video about how I've set it up later. But anyway, back to the point. The installer seems to work really well. It's a very quick way of installing Arch, and you do get a standard Arch installation. So why would you use it? And this is where I suppose I struggle a little bit. If you want something completely customized, you go for Manjaro. If you want a nice point and click install that gets you somewhere nearer to pure Arch, you use Endeavour. Why would you use an installer like Anarchy? Where does it fall? Well, I do think it has a place, because unlike Endeavour, it gives you the option of installing additional software that you particularly want right from the get-go. And it's very simple. It works great. Would I use it to install Arch? Do you know, I might. I actually might, having seen it, just as a time saver. Would I say a beginner should use it? Well, I don't think a beginner should use Arch. I think you need a year or so under your belt with Arch before you start to play with it, because no matter how simple the installation is, you still need to maintain the system and understand some of the basics. But as an install script, it's pretty good. I know there are many others out there. This is the only one I've tried. I was quite impressed, actually, with the UEFI implementation, because VirtualBox is, as you know, horrific when it comes to its UEFI support. You'd think they would have got it right after all this time, but hey. But it seemed to cope with it. Whatever it did, it was flawless. And apart from the budgie thing, which was a disappointment, to be honest, I was really impressed with it. So if you want a quick Arch installation, would I recommend Anarchy? Anarchy Linux? Yeah, I think I would, actually. It's a bit of a strange name, Anarchy Linux, isn't it? Aren't anarchists all about the lack of structure and the lack of any sort of overriding way of doing things? This seems to provide a structure, but hey, you know, it's more for a PR thing, I suppose, more than anything else. You won't find this on DistroWatch, by the way. I found it, well, I just happened to come across somebody reviewing it, and I did a search on Google and got to the page. Yeah, quite impressed. Anyway, guys, that's probably going to be it for today. I've got a few ideas that I'm going to look at over the next week or so. I certainly want to do a little chat about setting up this new audio system. Quite impressed. It's not as easy to set up as a USB mic, that's for sure. And I made some beginner mistakes. I do want to look at Budgie. Perhaps I'll download Solus and do something on that. I'm going to do something about antivirus on Linux and just have a chat about why on earth you would need it, and if you're going to use it, what your best options are. And I may well at some point also look at the UFW firewall. So I've got a few ideas. I can't say what sort of order they're going to come in. Some of them will be just a quick look. Others may be more detailed. But anyway, that's it for Monday morning. Have a great day. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please like and subscribe. It really helps. And stay well until next time.